Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and I am joined today by Mr. Matt Haught from Sym-Tac, the guru of shotguns. You've done a fair amount of training. Like, you're humble about it, but you've done a fair amount of training and practice and shooting with shotguns.
I've done a bit.
And today, in your hands there, we have a Winchester 1897 trench gun. You're actually missing a bit. I think that'll help.
That's better.
That's much more like it. All right, so do you have a lot of experience with the 97? What do you think of those?
You know, not as much as I do with more modern guns, but what I have has shown me that it's kind of like the Thompson in that it's that kind of first generation take on a concept where it hadn't quite worked out the most efficient way to do everything, but you know, it's still a really neat piece of history, and it was better than a double barrel.
For sure. Well, one of the interesting elements of this, I think, because it is still really quite early in the developmental cycle of repeating shotguns. Like, it's not the first, but it's kind of the first really successful
It's the first commercially successful one.
Yeah. It's got a Slamfire capability, and a lot of people know that term, but for those who've heard it and maybe don't know what it is, tell us what is Slamfire?
So Slamfire means it doesn't have a disconnector in the trigger mechanism. So if you hold the trigger back, when you close the action, if there's a round in the chamber, it will fire. So for example, hold the trigger down. Oh, look, it went bang.
And it's really easy to tell on this because of that external hammer.
Exactly. Whereas on an 870,
click, I have to let the trigger reset before it'll click again.
Exactly.
So the stories are, of course, this was an even better weapon in World War I or World War II because of that Slamfire capacity. I think a lot of people expect that makes it, you can fire it faster, you can be more effective.
So I'd agree you can fire it faster. Whether you're more effective, I think is going to be very contextual, and I would argue it'd probably be a very limited context.
Well, guess what? We've got a timer. We've got a shotgun expert. Let's find out if Slamfire actually helps. We got 3 courses of fire set up here. The first is going to be just 5 rounds on a single steel plate. Birdshot, I got a box of, I got you heavy target loads. And we'll do 5 rounds with that, and we'll do 5 rounds with a modern pump gun. This is your Sym-Tac special from Van Comp. Then we're gonna set up some paper targets and use buckshot and do a trench style, like 5 guys really close together. And then we're gonna spread the targets out a little bit, more like a World War II open kind of in the jungle. And we'll see, going from no moving between targets to a fair amount of moving between targets, what benefit does Slamfire give you or not give you?
My prediction, probably not much.
Let's find out.
But we'll find out. That's what science is for.
All right, Matt, 5 rounds, birdshot. All right, are you ready?
Yep.
Stand by.
Ah! That's hard to hold on to with that little slick hand guard.
All right, so that was 2.83 seconds, and you missed the last 2 rounds.
Yeah.
You want to give it one more try?
Yeah, I feel bad about that. Bobbled it a little bit.
Well, that was 3.4 because of the last one.
But it worked better.
You hit all 5. I think let's give you a run with the modern gun and let's see how you can handle that. You getting toasty?
No, the heat shield actually does a pretty good job.
All right, excellent. Well, that's good to know.
Almost like it was intended that way.
Huh, weird.
All right, let's try this one.
Modern gun with a disconnector.
And a manual safety.
What a crazy idea. Not just a half cock on the hammer?
Yeah, exactly, man.
Doesn't even have an exposed hammer.
These newfangled kids in their newfangled ways.
All right. So 2.83 is your time to beat. Are you ready? .67. Good. You are faster and more accurate. Now, some of that is probably due to this being a more modern and better handling gun in general.
And one that I've had significant time on. I mean, the 870 is kind of the thing I've got the most rounds on. So it's a system I'm intimately familiar with.
Okay, well this is like the hardest core part of this experiment.
Yeah.
So the others, you're gonna have some target transitions and we'll see if that makes up any difference.
We'll see.
Okay, ready? Stand by. 2 2.78.
Yeah, bobbled the mount on that one. Trying to go too fast.
That is the idea. So, what I can take away from this is that if there is a speed difference, it's a pretty minuscule one.
So far, it pretty much buttresses my opinion that it's not terribly useful feature.
And there's a significant, there's also a significant factor that is the ergonomics and the handling of the 97.
Yeah.
You've got a much bigger pump handle here, better grip on it. We've both experienced the 97 handle it's smaller, it's smooth, it's harder to get a good grip on.
There's no texturing on that 97. It's slicker than snot on a doorknob. I noticed my hand kind of losing it a couple times.
And even if you're faster just with the slam firing itself, at some point, if you're not careful, if you're not properly running the gun, you're going to short stroke it or your hand's going to slip. There are advantages to taking your time and doing it 1/10 of a second slower to make sure it's right every time.
So one of the best ways I've heard that described from my buddy Ashton Ray is don't go as fast as you can't.
I like that. I like that phrase. All right, let's move on to a slightly more realistic scenario, because in combat, I can't imagine you'd really ever be just dumping the entire tube into one stationary target.
Probably not.
We have our 5 Huns in the trench for you. And we're also going to switch up to buckshot instead of birdshot. You ready?
Manly bullets.
All right, so I've got low recoil law enforcement buckshot from Nobel Sport Italia for you. But this box is actually partially empty. So we're giving you 1 round of flight control, 4 rounds of generic low recoil buckshot. This should be pretty equivalent to standard commercial buckshot, which is what they were using in the war. And we have 5 targets positioned such as you have come around the corner in a trench, and there's 5 guys all standing there. So there's some overlap. I want to see good hits on every target. Let's see what you can do.
And because, you know, we're in a trench.
Of course, the stabby. Are you ready?
Yep.
Stand by. Not too shabby.
I mean, that guy on the left might be still alive. There a little bit.
That was 2.79. So your recoil control, you're changing targets while you're pulling the gun out of recoil.
Yeah, that's how you're supposed to.
Yeah, but you actually did it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's basically as fast as you were able to dump onto one target by itself. All right, so that's the flight control. That dude be dead.
That dude
That
be,
dude be thoroughly dead.
So it's interesting, at this distance, you can even see kind of the peppering that the Grex is giving it.
Yeah, the buffering.
I don't think that's going to actually do anything. It's not going to have any terminally significant ballistics to it.
Not compared to the 9 pellets that went through that same hole.
Yeah.
All right, this guy, he's not in a happy place. That's a pretty effective.
One thing this does show you, though, that whole engage multiple guys with 1 round. At reasonable shotgun distances, you're not doing that.
That's true. There are people who would think that, oh yeah, this close, like 9 yards.
Just spray it down the hallway. No.
No, that doesn't work. So, yeah, you're pulling a little off to one side here, but that guy's also not in a happy place. Although this is like that classic, oh, just shoot him in the shoulder, where you always see people shot in movies. Like, there's a lot of important stuff in your shoulder.
Yeah.
This guy is like, those are not good hits.
No. This dude's hosed.
Yeah, we got some shoot-through pellets on this guy, so I don't know which ones are your actual shot, but I bet it's these.
It's this one, yeah.
Yeah,
because this shot through him.
Yeah.
Or maybe him, I don't know.
All right, same deal. Modern gun. You have to actually take the time to pull the trigger every time on this one.
Oh no.
2.70. You were 8/100ths of a second faster. This guy is dead again, right through the same holes.
And people say the Imperial German Army's heartless.
That guy is now.
Yep.
That's a pretty solid hit.
He did.
And he took a shotgun wad right to the schnoz. That's a snoot boop right there. Pulling a little bit to the right on this guy, but it's symmetrical now. That's a really bad day. And the farthest target away is a really, really bad day. So what we have here are two completely equally effective sets of hits. I would say all 5 of these are very much effective hits. And you're actually faster with the modern gun, which tells me a couple things. I mean, there are benefits to the modern gun that are unrelated to Slamfire or not Slamfire. It's a gun you have more practice with. It's a gun that has better sights on it.
Much better sights.
Although at this range, I don't know that the sights are that big of a deal, are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I saw that bead the entire time I was running the 97.
Okay. Well, it didn't really seem to hurt your accuracy. But maybe a little bit faster here. So ultimately, did the Slamfire help you overall? No.
Not in this one.
No. All right, let's spread the targets out. Now, I'm pretty sure if it didn't help you when they're all tight together like this, it's probably not going to help you when they're spread out. But let's run our 3rd iteration anyway. All right, we're back to the trench gun. We have now spread our targets out a bit. So this is more of a World War II thing. They did, of course, use the 97s in World War II. We have removed your bayonet so that you don't get mistaken for a Japanese soldier, because they hung bayonets on essentially everything.
Hell, they had them on their light machine guns.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Load her up.
I will say, that handguard is nice to have.
Good. I was always kind of curious if it...
I mean, it's doing the job.
Excellent. It's especially good because it's kind of a tiny little pump handle on there.
It's a tiny little pump handle, and it's hot and sunny out here, and we're shooting, so.
Yeah. Okay. All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Stand by.
God damn, that's hard to time it.
It's almost like Slamfire doesn't necessarily give you that much of an advantage. Because you're right, when you're transitioning targets, you, instead of move to target, make shot, you have to actually time closing the action.
And I've got so many reps on bang, immediately cycle the action while I'm transitioning. I had to stop and slow down and be like, no, don't close it yet. Yeah, and maybe that's just a training issue, need more time on the system, but I don't think so.
But how many guys trained to use a Slamfire gun like that?
Oh, probably none of them.
Every doughboy who went into war with, that had experience on a 97, they had experience on a 97 as a bird gun. I guarantee you. Because they weren't, I mean, they didn't have tactical police SWAT sort of training 80 years ago, or even World War I, over 100 years ago, the way we do today.
Chances are they didn't own any riot guns, maybe, but they probably had some bird guns.
They might well have had an 1897 for bird hunting, but you're not going to slam fire at birds.
Probably not. Not hit anything.
Yeah, and the ammo's expensive. You're a good old farm boy. You need to make every shot count.
Absolutely.
And so you're gonna close gun, aim, take shot. So let's see how your hits were. They look pretty good from here.
No, they're not.
All right, so this guy's good. Like, that guy's really good. This poor schmuck has taken, like, what, 27 pellets to the A zone now.
Well, no, that one.
26 to the A zone and 1 pellet to the C zone.
I worry about that little guy.
Not quite as good as the previous 2, but I'd still, like, that guy's no longer a threat.
My liver.
Yeah. That's a good hit.
Yeah, that's a lung gone.
Yeah. That's a really good solid hit.
Yeah.
Right across the top of the chest.
And then, yeah, this one I was on autopilot and running the pump, and we got about halfway there and thought, oh no, I got to stop running the boom. Too late.
Oops. Oh.
Yep.
Well, you're actually, this guy was.
Oh, wait.
Didn't cut the perf.
This guy was a prisoner of war, and you knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
obviously.
All right.
Save the GI.
So your time was 3.57. Let's
Okay.
see what you can do with a proper gun. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Stand by. .25. So you're half a second faster, and you actually hit them all.
And I kind of slowed down on that one just to make sure I got good hits, especially on those last targets.
It kind of sounded like it, because you can't, we're seeing what your spread is. It's like this. You can't just kind of wave the gun vaguely in the direction and pull the trigger, or you won't hit.
No, I mean, contrary to popular belief, it's not, you have to aim a shotgun.
Right. And so what we're seeing clearly with a dispersed set like this is any potential speed advantage of slam firing is completely gone, because you have more than enough time while you're returning from recoil and moving to your next target to do that.
Exactly.
That's all you're doing. Doop, doop.
Yeah, the only time it might have a theoretical advantage is like in a tight trench confine or a hallway or something. And even then, if you're shooting that fast, is the guy you're shooting at going to have time to fall out of the way before you shoot at the next one?
You beat me to it. I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you the truth, the reason that we don't see Slamfire guns anymore, the reason that everything has a disconnector, especially back in that time period before modern trigger finger discipline became a thing, you know, guys would be riding their finger here and they'd close the bolt and the forward impetus,
click, bang.
yeah. Or they just have it on there because they're scared or would be checking the trigger and they close it, boom. So, I mean, it's a very real risk of negligent discharge.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Especially in modern day when people just aren't used to Slamfire guns, they don't think about it.
Yeah. So the 97 wasn't the only gun that was capable of Slamfire, right? Some of the other early ones did too?
Oh yeah, like Model 12s, the old production Ithaca 37s. I don't know for sure about a Remington 10, but I would assume so, considering it's, you know, an ancestor of the 37.
Okay.
It was very common. You didn't start seeing disconnectors in shotguns until like 40s and 50s, and by the 60s, most of them had them.
Okay. But it's not a matter of the disconnector was the secret bonus extra capability. It was, well, that's an extra part or three that we have to put in the gun, and you know, do we really need it? It's a little cheaper if we leave it out, and then it becomes a safety issue.
Yeah, it was mostly an issue with having negligent discharges with those guns. Yeah. And so this disconnector was seen as a safety feature and, you know, product liability and all that.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, Matt, I really appreciate you coming out here to help me out with this. Like, I could have done this shooting, but I don't think it has as much standing as if we have someone with proper shotgun experience like you. So if people want to get proper shotgun experience like you, how do they find you for your training classes?
So you can find us at symtac.com. That's sym-tac.com.
Highly recommended. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.